So, I got home from work and I started creating a video for the Shift for Success channel, which also doubles as a podcast channel, which you can find on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Sounder FM, a whole bunch of different places. And then I started looking at ways to monetize your podcast further. So in Buzzsprout, it recommends using a Patreon account. So now I'm working on setting up a Patreon account for the podcast. So now that I'm creating a Patreon account, my Shift for Success channel is about how to be a successful creator. So now that I'm creating a Patreon account, I need to film it so that then I can have another video. It's like this cycle. So the more you create, the more you learn how to create and be a creator. The more, especially if your niche is how to be a creator, the more content you have, because every time you learn something new about creating content, you're gonna film yourself creating that type of content and taking these steps to get there. So it's like this cycle of every time you learn something new, you have a new video and a whole new style of creating that comes with it. So now I'm going to work on setting up a Patreon account for the podcast associated with Shift for Success. And yeah, so now I'm going to do that. It's going to be great. I actually really love doing this kind of stuff. It's a blast for me. I like editing videos, I like editing audio, I like finding new creative ways to create content and do all that kinds of stuff. So now I'm gonna make another video about creating on a Patreon account and how to set it up for podcasts, because I have a Patreon account for this channel, which if you haven't checked out yet, you should totally check out, because there's gonna be a whole bunch of detail on wedding stuff and car stuff and ranch stuff that is gonna be shared to the Patreon account for everybody to see and have access to. Like, we'll list all of the things that we purchased for our wedding, so that if you guys are getting married or going to a wedding and want to have wedding ideas and that kind of thing, they'll all be on there and you'll have access to all of it. And then as I start restoring the 300ZX, we're gonna list all the different parts and everything. It's gonna be like jam-packed full of content for that as well. So if you guys aren't a part of the Patreon family, you guys need to go check it out. It's linked in the description, and let me know what you think. It's not fully built out yet. It takes a lot of time to keep up with everything. I have a podcast, I have the YouTube channel for Shift for Success, I have the vlog channel, and it's like keeping up with a ton of stuff and working like 48 hours a week, usually Monday through Friday, and then doing all of our wedding stuff on top of that. So it's like a lot to keep up with, but the goal is that through Patreon, YouTube, the podcast, the other YouTube account, and all of that, that eventually this will become my job. Getting content, creating content, editing videos, audio, all of that is hopefully going to become my job. We're getting there. We are getting there, and we're not going to stop going until we get there. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, check out our Patreon account, and I am going to time-lapse you through the creation of the Patreon account while filming it for the other channel. So I will see you guys in a little bit. So, the Patreon account for Shift for Success is up. Now, let me talk about some of these details with you, okay? This is important. So, I have 3 different tiers, okay? And on these 3 different tiers, tier 1 for Shift for Success, you get an extra video per month going into more detail on how to be a successful content creator or how to be successful at investing and different investing ideas that I come across and that I use, which is actually kind of turning into a lot. It's becoming something that I do regularly. Tier 2 on Shift for Success Patreon account is I will list all of the tools that I use for investing and all of the tools that I use for content creating. And there's actually some tools out there that are used to be beneficial that I don't think are beneficial anymore, or certain aspects of different tools that aren't beneficial anymore. And I'm gonna fully disclose what I use on there to people. And along with that second tier, you still get the extra video per month going into detail on how I do specific things. Like step-by-steps on how to create an NFT, or step-by-step on how to take a payment from an NFT, or step-by-step on how to, legitimately think about how you're creating a video from start to finish and the story that you're gonna tell. And then tier 3, this is the kicker, okay? Tier 3, you get all that. Plus, I know that when I first started doing YouTube, I just wanted somebody who was successful at YouTube to look at what I was doing and tell me what I can do differently and what I was doing well. So for tier 3 on Shift for Success's Patreon, you are going to get a one-on-one connection with me where I will look at your investments and tell you what I think, or I will look at your YouTube channel, podcasts, media company idea, whatever else you are creating content around from another creator's perspective, and give you my feedback and or validation that what you're doing is working. And that's what I'm gonna offer. It's something that I searched for when I first started creating content, and a lot of people want to charge you like $500, $1,000 to look at your channel and give you feedback. And that's not something that I want to do. I want, if you subscribe to Patreon, I think tier 1 is $1 a month, tier 2 is $5 a month, tier 3 is $20 a month. Because, my time is valuable, and the time that I donate to looking into your content and seeing what you're doing and what you should do differently, or looking at your investments and giving you my opinion, is valuable. So that's what I'm gonna offer. And if you guys haven't already, and you're a content creator who's just starting out and you need some good info, go check out Shift for Success. You'll see how my YouTube studio has changed with time, and how, what little things I've learned here and there that I've shared on that channel. Or if you're not into watching videos all the time, go check out the Shift for Success podcast, Apple Music and Spotify, along with Amazon and Google, it's on Sounder, it's on Buzzsprout. Go check it out. But if you guys are really looking as a content creator or an investor to take your stuff to the next level, you really need to go check out my Shift for Success Patreon page. There's not much on there right now. I just built it, but it is gonna kick butt and take names. It is gonna benefit you greatly. It's gonna give you everything that I wish that I had when I first started. So guys, thanks for watching this episode. I'm gonna see you in the next video.